Hey guys, and welcome back once again to I Like Watches. The videos are coming thick and fast because I've got lots of quality watches to review, just like this one. This has been sent to me from the Octopus Kraken Ali store on AliExpress, one of my favourite AliExpress stores, and if you're interested in military homage watches, I don't think you need to go anywhere else. They sell a plethora of military homage watches. I've reviewed quite a few. The build quality is always really good. I think this one though is my favourite. Love the dimensions, love the look of this one. It is of course a homage of an A-11 military watch. I think they've done a cracking job, and in this video I'm going to be reviewing this watch, and again I'm going to mix things up a little bit. I'm going to do the facts, figures, stats and specifications at the end of the video. I'm going to start with the movement, the green thumbs up, the red thumbs down, some lovely macro shots, so you're going to see some incredible shots of this watch nice and early in the video. Then the summary will be sort of in the middle, and then like I said, at the end we'll do all the facts, figures, stats and specifications. So yeah, if you're interested in this watch, stick around to the end. And of course, if you are tempted to pick up any watches from their store during the sale, I would love for you to use my affiliate links in the video description. And please, if you enjoy my content, click that like button and subscribe. Now this Baltany model S182031 A-11 military homage is available, as I've already mentioned, from the Octopus Kraken Ali store. Now at the time of filming this video, the sale prices were not available yet, so I can only confirm the price out of the sale is $186 US, 180 euros, 155 British pounds. Now I did reach out to the Octopus Kraken Ali store to ask if their watches were being discounted in the upcoming summer sale, and they said yes. Now this watch is powered by an automatic. It is the Seiko NH38. There's no date complication on the dial, so no date complication in that movement either, which is fantastic. So no ghost position on the crown. 21,600 beats per hour. It is a hacking hand wind movement, 41 hours power reserve when it's fully wound, 53-degree lift angle. Now let me summarise for you what I perceive to be this watch's strengths. I've already mentioned it in the introduction actually. Build quality. I haven't been disappointed at all ever with the build quality of any watches that have come to me from the Octopus Kraken Ali store. They are obviously focusing on producing slightly unusual homage watches but built to a really high standard, and this is no exception. The polishing on the sides of the case, well in fact all of the polishing over this case is really good, really crisp. I'm not seeing any streak marks whatsoever, and at this price point that is really good to see. I do also like the size, dimensions and proportions of this watch. It's quite tall, but you get 200 meters of water resistance, and to achieve that they would have had to use a fairly substantial crystal covering the dial and a fairly decent case back protecting the movement. And it's a fairly smallish watch, slightly smaller than average, and that does give the impression of it being a touch taller than you would expect, I guess. I do like the side profile, mind. That box crystal, double domed sapphire crystal with AR coating, yeah, looks really good. I quite like the case back as well. I don't fully understand everything they've put on it, but they've done the engraving on the case back to sort of replicate the style of engraving that was put on the original watches in the 40s, I believe. Really nice strap on this watch as well. They do tend to send them out on quality leather straps or nylon 1 or 2 piece straps, although I am going to have a little grumble about the buckle, which I'll come on to in a minute. But the actual leather strap itself, really nice. Super soft, super supple, plenty of taper on it. Yeah, nice strap. The loom seems okay. It's difficult to judge without doing a proper longevity test, and this watch hasn't competed as yet in a loom degradation comparison video, which I tend to film and post on my second channel, I Like Watches too. But first impressions are, it looks pretty good. It is applied directly to the dial, and generally that means it will not be as strong or long lasting as watches that have loom applied or essentially put into applied indexes. But it seems good enough. What about the weaknesses? Well, very few weaknesses with this watch as far as I can see. Of course, if you're seeing something about this watch that you're not particularly fond of and you consider it to be a weakness, do let me know in the comment section. But my little grumble is going to be about the finishing on the buckle. It's a sort of bead blasted finish, and I've seen this before on watches from this store. The finishing on the buckles doesn't always match the finishing on the cases, which makes the strap or the buckle in particular look like a bit of an afterthought, and it just cheapens the watch ever so slightly. I do think it's a fairly minor thing, and not everybody would consider it to be, you know, a weakness or a negative, but I do like it when watches that come in particular on leather straps have buckles that look like they've been produced specifically to match the finishing on the case. Yeah, I've got to say I like this watch. I'm not generally a huge fan of military homage watches. Those of you familiar with my channel know that I tend to lean towards dive watches and all stainless steel watches, and I do go weak at the knees for some dress watches, military homage watches. I like them, I appreciate them, but they're not generally the watches that give me the biggest tingles. But I've got to say, I do like this one, and I think that might be partly because when I've visited Francis & Gaye in the past, I've spent quite a bit of time looking at their Oris watches, and their Oris big crown watches obviously resemble this one to some degree, and I've really warmed to those watches. In fact, I really like the Oris big crown, and the fact that this is quite similar in some respects I think makes me appreciate this watch even more, and that is perhaps why it's one of my favourite watches from the Octopus Kraken Alley store. Now, what about the price? Now, generally the price of watches from this store are higher than average, and that is because they are offering slightly more unusual and less mainstream homage watches, but they are also produced to a particularly high standard, and the polishing on this case is a good indicator of where their standards are when it comes to watch building, finishing and all those things. So if you like really nicely well made watches, then I think this watch is going to represent pretty decent value for money, and fingers crossed it's well discounted in the sale, which means it will be, you know, even better value for money during the sale. Right, if you're still watching, there's a good chance you are interested in this watch, so let me now run through all the facts, figures, stats and specifications so you know everything there is to know about this watch. Right, let's start with the dimensions, and the case diameter is exactly 36mm. Thickness, including the crystal, is 12.7. Lug to lug is bang on 44. 18mm lug width, and the strap tapers down to just under 16mm. The crystal is sapphire, a piece of box sapphire crystal with some domage, and it's double domage as well because the clarity through to the dial at a tight angle there, look, is pretty good. Oh, and there's also a clear AR coating on the underside. On the supplied strap, it weighs 65 grams. The materials used for this particular watch then: stainless steel case, bezel, caseback, crown and buckle on this strap. Look, you've got a genuine leather strap, and I've already shown you a piece of sapphire crystal protecting the dial. Now if I zoom in close enough, you should be able to see 200M on the dial, 200 meters of water resistance. That is quite a surprise actually. Screw down caseback and a screw down crown, but still 200 meters of water resistance. I was not expecting that. Everything you see on the dial is printed, and in keeping with the original watch, you've got the 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 and 60 minute markers. So the case is fully polished. That's on top of the lugs, the side of the case, even the detail on that bezel look seems to be polished, and in fact even some of the caseback look around the brushed section. That machined element is also polished seemingly, and in fact even under the lugs is polished. But the buckle is bead blasted, and this is what I was talking about. There's no bead blasting or this sort of frosted finish on the case or the watch anywhere apart from on this buckle, which, you know, I don't know, just seems a bit of a shame really. Right, I think that pretty much wraps up all the facts, figures, stats and specifications, but if I have missed anything out, please do let me know in the comments section or email me oldmantimegary@gmail.com. I'll do my very best to get back to you as soon as possible, and please do let me know what you think of this watch in the comments section. Right guys, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much as always for watching. Please take care, look after yourselves. You'll see me again very, very soon.